So the year is 2020 and there are very few survivors of the Holocaust left. My father, who had come from Nazi Germany, died 3 years ago now, and he was in his 90s. In this book, The Sound of Breaking Glass, the father is Conrad, but the point of view is second generation. The book is about the inheritance of the child of a survivor of the Holocaust. Here's Conrad. How would you feel? You sell your good suit, you sell your good shoes, your overcoat. It's getting colder. It's the middle of the continent. The winds come from Siberia. You line up, and every day a fright. You live in a constant state of alarm. I can assure you there was hate everywhere. On the street, in every shop, in every face. You knew they would come for you in the end. One slip. That is all I experienced. Growing up in Berlin, every day of my life was humiliation. I'd heard it often enough to be able to imagine it all around us, every house, behind every door, against us, hating us, wishing for us to be removed, deleted, reduced to nothing, smaller and smaller, until we were just dust so they could sweep us into the rubbish. We had no right. Every neighbour could inform. The list, the knock at the door. I followed Conrad's eyes, trying to see what he could see. An alley, I thought. A rubbish bin at the end, beside a bricked up exit with iron spikes on top, and then he was running and going to try and climb. My Uncle Richard tried all his relatives overseas, he said, counting with his index finger on the little finger of the other hand, and not one of them would help him. He wrote to everyone with his surname, with his wife's surname, in the Los Angeles phone book, in the London phone book, in New York. He tried every supplier he'd ever dealt with. Conrad's index finger dropped onto his ring finger in Canada, in Buenos Aires. But he couldn't afford the stamps, and anyway, there was no reply. I am waiting for something bad to happen to Uncle Richard. You advertised yourself in the newspaper and say, Wellington. He counted his middle finger now. You couldn't say lawyer. You'd never get a job. You couldn't say surgeon or professor or merchant or clothing manufacturer. So you said cabinet maker and experienced, requires guarantor for immigration. As if it is, he looked into the distance, quite regular. He sat down abruptly, placed his hands on his thighs, turned his head sideways, as if ignoring something, as if Uncle Richard might be there, or Conrad as a young man. Don't, Conrad, let's talk about something else. Stella tried, but he would not be stopped. He shook his head. They made you wait. They tormented you. Those Nazi bastards. You felt sick with fright all the time. Jewellery gone. Doors slammed. Favours all used up. You give up the lease. Your business fails. You're ordered out of your apartment. Your parents move in. You share the apartment. Beg. Borrow. Swindle. Steal. Where was Conrad hiding? Where did Conrad go? And how did he know what happened to Uncle Richard? A deal here, a shuffle there, nothing left to bribe with, nothing to sell, no job, no hat, to talk to the same nasty bastard behind the desk. You're choking, waiting for the knock. And finally, a miracle. But I was not sure. There was no way out of Conrad's stories. A transit visa via Curacao and the Dutch Americas, guaranteed by a Japanese Buddhist monk. Can you believe that? For Sarah and Israel. My father, master of ceremonies with oversized gestures, dropped into his Yiddish accent. And the children, Sarah and Israel. Did you know that? He looked at me as if I should have known. The Nazis gave every Jew the same name. His face lit up in a quicksilver grin. God's chosen people. You have to wonder, if there's a God, he must be anti-Semitic. Oh, Conrad! Stella laughed in a gust. You're terrible.